Hello, Abuja. A very, very good morning to you and welcome to Midday with Mena. And I am your host, as usual, Mena. And today's program, we are going to talk about something very, very insightful. And it's actually quite exciting because it affects every one of us. And I think we will be very, very much interested to listen to what I have on the program installed for you all today. All right, so today's topic is common road safety practices that Nigerian drivers fail to adopt. That's what we're going to be discussing today. Common road safety practices Nigerian drivers fail to adopt on the roads of Nigeria. Nigeria has one of the highest rates of road accidents in the world. Every year, thousands of people lose their lives due to reckless driving and poor road safety practices. While some of these accidents may be caused by poor road conditions, a majority of them are as a result of the failure of Nigerian drivers to adopt common road safety practices. One of the most common road safety practices that Nigerian drivers have failed to adopt is the use of seat belts. Many drivers still do not use seatbelts despite the law mandating it. Another practice Nigerian drivers have failed to adopt is the use of child car seats. I know a lot of us trivialize that practice, but your children are supposed to be sitting in car seats when they're in your car. Okay, so additionally, many Nigerian drivers ignore traffic lights, road signs, leading to accidents and unnecessary and unnatural traffic congestion in the country. On the program today, we will be discussing common road safety practices that Nigerian drivers have failed to adopt. We are going to explore the reasons behind the failure to adopt these practices and the consequences of not adopting them. We will also be discussing the steps that can be taken to promote road safety and reduce the number of road accidents in Nigeria. Okay, on the program today, I have with me two road safety officers, actually, and I am very, very happy that they could both make it to the show today. On the program, I have Special Marshal Tom Nkwot. He's the Unit Coordinator, FRSC, Special Marshal Unit 33. I also have Special Marshal Mega Ike Emereze, Unit 33, FRSC Special Marshal. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having us.
All right. Good morning, SM Tom. Good morning, SM Mega Ike. It's great to have both of you on the program. I love to see the smiles on your faces. So you two are happy to be here with me today.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Okay, so this road safety thing is actually a big issue. This road safety thing is actually a big issue in Nigeria, and I think we're all coming together to make sure that our roads are safe for us, for our children, for our family, and even especially for the elderly who drive on the road. All right, before we get into common road safety practices drivers have failed to adopt, I'll just like to ask a few questions too, actually. So I'll throw one to each of you. Okay. I'll start with you, SM Tom. Yeah. What's the biggest challenge we have with Nigerian motorists, just generally?
Well, thank you very much, Mena, and welcome, listener, once again. The greatest challenge, I may say, is absence of information. Because they say when you are not properly informed, you are deformed. Most of the motorists or drivers generally, they don't have adequate information in terms of offenses and their penalties. So that's why they tend to violate them. Sometimes someone will commit an offense, and then by the time you accost the person and say, I didn't know. But of course, like you say, ignorance is not an excuse before the law. So I think generally it's absence of information, particularly when it comes to road safety issues or traffic offenses. And that's why we always encourage every motorist to have the driving manual, which has been provided by the federal government, called Federal Highway Code. Most drivers, whether commercial or private, they've never gone through the pages of this book, and it's highly educative. So I believe if all of them get acquainted with the contents and the rudiments of the content of that book, okay, that manual, they'll be adequately informed of the rudiments of road safety and driving ethics. So information is very, very important. Also look at economic issues and so on and so forth. So these are things that can be
This
explored.
your highway handbook, is it translated in other languages except English?
Well, at the moment, I have not seen the other language version of it, but I've only seen the English.
You only see the English version. Did you want to say something, SM Mega Eye?
What I wanted to say is that the problem with Nigerians, especially the motorists, is that we don't read. That's the biggest challenge. We don't read. We just want to get there. You know, there are procedures when you want to get there. So the most important thing is that you have to read, understand what you're even reading. It's not just about reading. You have to understand what you're reading. I tell people, once immediately you enter inside a vehicle, the first thing you need to do is to put on your seatbelt. And a lot of motorists, especially the taxi, they lack that. That's all on the chip.
All right, yeah. I just want to ask you now. I have this question for you.
Okay.
Which set of people constitutes the biggest nuisance on the road?
Everybody does.
It's obvious now.
Obviously,
No,
the taxis, the great taxis, the taxis most especially, you know, the taxis. The problem with these guys, they just you know that a car is specially built for, especially the front seat of your passenger, is built for one person. You come and inconvenience that person, or because you want to make quick money. Your own life is safe because nobody is dragging a seat with you.
Yes.
But your passenger seat, you have two people there. Because when you have two passengers on the front seat, nobody can put on a seatbelt.
No.
Nobody put on, and that is the biggest problem I have with these taxi guys. And when you tell them, they say they know. It's sharp. They want to get there. They want to make money. Or guy will not make money today. And no, it's not about money. Your life is important.
Very, very.
Very important. You can handle the other four passengers behind by putting the first person, because if anything happens, the first person that will get the problem is the person, the passengers in the front seat.
Straight away.
And we keep talking to them. We have talked, we've communicated to them several times, and the problem is that they still don't read. They don't pay attention. They don't pay. I mean, most of them even don't have driver license. Not most of them, their cars are not complete. The lights,
not roadworthy.
Everything is not properly fixed.
Okay, since we've actually already gotten into this aspect of the talk, I would actually like to ask, okay, so first of all is that there are driving schools. Aren't these driving schools supposed to educate people on road signs and at least a few things before, you know, you get to read the highway manual yourself?
You know the good thing about this thing is that most of them don't go to driving school.
So why do we allow them on the road?
They can just wake up tomorrow, their friend knows how to drive car, and such person just carry the car and start driving without even learning, without going through the procedure.
I've even heard people just say it like it's something to be proud of. Just enter the car, just carry it, just start driving.
All educated ones
I think
are the problem.
Let me come in there. You see, before now, the driving schools, attention were not given much to the driving school. They were just existing and doing training on commercial basis. But lately, the Federal Road Safety Corps has made it mandatory that before you can process your driver's license, you must pass through a driving school. And that's why the FRSC has accredited driving schools all located around FCT and, of course, around the country. Now, how does this operate? Most people have driver's license before now. They can drive. But at the point, probably that particular driver's license they obtained like years ago expired and they want to renew. We don't have their information in our database because they were not properly processed. Now, at this point, the FRSC has made it mandatory that even if you've been driving for 20 years, but you are not in our database of regulated drivers or licensed drivers, you must go back to driver school. And now they start shouting, why should you have to go back to driving school? I've been driving. Okay, if you cannot go back to driving school, you cannot process. And it is mandatory. So once you get to driving school, you are expected to be trained for minimum of 28 days. And your attendance, your participation is being followed online through a platform provided by Road Safety. After the 28 days, your driving school certificate will be generated automatically by the system. So it is that driving school certificate and then your learner's permit obtained from the VIO. These are what the primary documents you can now use to go and apply for your driver's license. Now, but we understand the fact that even before that, people just go to driving school because to fulfill all rights of this. They won't pay attention to the training. They just want to finish that 28 days and go to school, go and get license and start driving. So if the driving school are there, the instructors are there, and before one can even set up the school, there are regulations, there are compliance that need to be met before a license is given for someone to operate a driving school. We understand there are also quacks.
Okay, all these things you're saying, there's a lot of due process to follow, everything. So who is giving these people the nuisances on the road? Who is giving them license? And why aren't they being caught?
Well, I must say, most of the nuisance on the street, they are not licensed drivers.
Okay, so why are they on the road?
We are enforcing. The enforcement is ongoing, but of course you understand that the volume is much.
Yes, definitely.
And the capacity in terms of personnel and so on is limited. So we are doing a lot, the Federal Safety Corps, and that's why we in the Special Marshal, we are there to complement the effort of the regular marshals in order to enforce these regulations and then get rid of these menace.
That's all we just want to hear.
So we are working day by day.
Seriously.
Because I know we're a lot in Nigeria.
Yes.
People want things to go fast, but honestly, they can't go as fast as we anticipate.
There's a lot of work to be done.
But honestly, if work is being done genuinely from the inside, in a few years from now, we'll see the results. I don't doubt it.
And it has to start from scratch.
It has, of course, it has to start from scratch.
Like I said earlier, information is very important. If you look at the situation in the country today, everybody is aggressive, either offended by government, economic implication. We just came out of another crisis that almost, swallowed up the whole country. So we need it's like a carrot and stick.
It is.
So we go with information first. We in the FRC Special Marshal, particularly Unit 33, which is my unit, we've been having stakeholder forums, engaging with drivers in their motor parks, meeting with their union and leaders to tell them why they have to comply with road safety regulations. It's primarily for their own life and for the safety of other road users. So we believe that by the time we get them adequately informed on these issues, then compliance becomes very easy. Thank you.
All right, guys, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to Citizen FM 93.7. And on today's program on Midday with Mena, we are discussing common road safety practices that Nigerian drivers and motorists fail to adopt on the road. Nigeria is has one of the highest rates of road accidents in the world. Every year, thousands of people lose their lives due to reckless driving and poor road safety practices. All right, let's get into this road safety practices that Nigerian motorists fail to adopt. So hopefully we can be able to maybe run through 10.
Okay.
Yes, if not, we can go a bit over 5. Okay. But let's begin. I'll begin with you, SM Tom. What's your first road safety practice that road users fail to adopt?
Well, you see, primarily the first thing I should consider is what we call morning parade. As a driver, there's a morning parade. What you're expected to do, the primary assignment you should do even before even embarking on a journey, and that involves your checking your vehicles, early morning to be sure it's in good condition. You check your fluids, like your engine oil, is it gauged? Your brake fluid, is it okay? Because brake failure is also a major cause of road traffic crashes. So if you don't have adequate brake fluid in your vehicle, just start driving and then you saw something, you pump your brake, it fails, and then it's going to lead to a crash. So
I know the group of people on the road that have that problem. I know, but I won't call them.
So you must do your morning parade first on a daily basis. You just assume that because you checked your engine oil yesterday, it's still intact. Sometimes you must have run into a ditch and there's a leakage, and everything is run out, and then by the time you go, the vehicle loses control, and then it leads to crash. So the morning parade has to be taken by every driver before even embarking on any journey. That's the foundation, if I may say.
And especially your tires too. You have to check your tires because a lot of them use expired tires. A lot of motorists, especially the taxi, they use expired tires, and most of them don't pay attention. They keep patching the tire. And
how would you be able to know that your tires are expired?
When you buy a new tire, It's written on
Okay,
It's written on the tire.
It's also is part of the public enlightenment that we do to enlighten them on how to check if a tire is still valid or is still good or not. But of course, they will tell you, for example, now if you want to buy a brand new tire, you should be looking for like 35,000 and so on, depending on the quality and the make. So, but you see, these people, they just look for one Belgium tire or fairly used tire, that you can buy for 8,000 and they use, and most of them are already expired. On the body of the tire, we train them, we show them, give them information how to identify the expiry date, the production date on the tire, and it's boldly written, but they don't even know it. If you look buy a tire, there are a lot of things that are written on the body of the tire.
I've seen a lot of things written on
it. But people don't know this expiry date is there, the date of manufacture, the pressure, the pressure, the level of pressure that tire is expected to carry is written on that vehicle, on that tire. But you just then go to a vehicle and say, pump it 35, pump it 40.
It has to be accurate for the
and
tire.
These are the things. If the pressure on the tire is not adequate, it can lead to explosion.
True.
And when you're on high speed and the pressure on the tire,
that's when people's tires
burst.
So they don't even need to have hit a
No.
They can burst
exactly,
on their
because
own.
the pressure is either under or over below the specified pressure level for that tire. Definitely is going to burst out on the highway. And
This
of
has
course,
caused so many
if it's on the highway and it's on high speed, it's a major crash.
I really feel like this may be what happens on, especially the express roads we have, especially the airport express roads that is prone to a lot of these accidents.
Yes.
Because most of the times you don't really see people. Maybe they don't really hit anybody.
Just on their own.
Just on their own.
Exactly. And you imagine how this thing happens, sir. It's very rampant.
It must be this tire thing.
If the person is high or something like that.
What is
I said, you wonder if the person is high or something like that.
Exactly.
And another thing I need to remind motorists is, have you ever noticed whenever you're driving, you see a sign, you run at so limit.
Yeah.
Speed limit.
Yeah, it gives you the kilometer.
We don't pay attention to that. A lot of people, even the private owners of cars, they don't pay attention to that. When you see somebody in a street, you are trying to run speed at what level?
That has caused accidents
in
not
healthy.
Yes,
It's
just
not
neighborhoods.
All those little stuff you see on the road, they help a lot.
The signs.
Yes.
You see, that's why I said information is very important. All these things are contained in the highway code. The speed limits, the road signs. Most drivers don't even understand road signs. They don't even know. That's why if you want to, that's what they are expected to be trained on in a driving school. Road signs, where you are supposed to make a U-turn, where you're not supposed to make a U-turn, where you're supposed to slow down, children's crossing, zebra crossing, and so on and so forth. They don't even know
this. The red
this.
stop sign.
Exactly. So we see these things. When we go on patrol, our regular patrols in our special marshal, we try to enlighten them on the basic thing as common as the zebra crossing.
Zebra crossings.
These are all marked on the expressway, and then you see vehicles driving to park on top of the zebra.
So how do you expect people?
When you tell them, God, please, you shouldn't be park on. This is a zebra crossing. They say, do we have zebras in Nigeria? They say, do we have zebras in Nigeria? I said, no. When you see these lines, they are for you to allow pedestrians to cross over to the other lane, so you don't have to stay on that line. So they don't even know. But in other climes around the world, these road signs are highly enforceable.
Yes,
people know it from birth. And that's why what we are doing now also to catch them young. We have federal safety clubs in schools.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
So where we train these children on some of these things, so that we can begin from now, let them grow with it.
So
it becomes a culture, exactly, in the days ahead.
Because now, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Because I know I may be here sitting down complaining about the road behavior of these green, white, green taxis, but even the private car owners, whom I expect better from,
they do, some of them
contribute greatly to this. But they don't do better. They can read, but they refuse to read.
We call those kind of people, they are VIP drivers.
Honestly, at this point,
VIP drivers sometimes
they
see
feel
the
they can
level of
do anything on the
recklessness.
road.
Yes, some of them you see them with tinted cars, covered plate numbers, siren.
How about the ones that change their lanes like
No,
this?
I was coming to that. That's called lane discipline. You know, we wanted us to take them one after the other.
Yes.
But maybe in case we don't have time
No.
to go through all of them, let me just run through them. Then
Okay.
the ones we can pick.
All right,
Do you understand what
cool.
we can look at?
Yeah.
Like I've talked about morning parade.
Okay.
They also have lane discipline.
Okay.
You understand? We have use of seatbelt. You have traffic light violation. You have what we call UPD, use of phone while driving. You understand? This is a major offense. I'm going to talk to
I have something to say about that. So for you people,
They also have the state of your tires. You know, you also have overloading and speed limit violation. Now, talking about lane discipline. When you are on the express lane, you see the lanes are clearly marked. They have the fast lane, then the slow lane, and so on and so forth. So
please say that again. It's louder. Loud it.
you know, so they have the fast lane and then the slow lane. These are marked on the highways. And on the slow lane, one is expected to be on the slow lane in case maybe you want to veer off into a service lane. You stay there. But you see, sometimes somebody from the fast lane just swap in the front of another vehicle. That has caused several, because the person on the slow lane is not expecting this one to come in front of him
And do that.
So all of a sudden, maybe they remembered or they almost missed the service lane, and then VIP drivers see that they overtake to the left, to the right, just any little space they see, they enter inside just to be able to get to where they are going. All these things are not necessary, and that's why you see when you convoy drivers accidents, when you see a crash involving a convoy, is actually very, very better, because the level of the speed with which they drive on the highway
who's
is
pursuing
something
them?
else.
Who's chasing them? You already have security. Why are you running
Everywhere
so fast?
should give way. So speed limit violation is a major offense, and also on the highways, and that's why the FRSC has introduced what we call the speed limit device. Okay, this is expected to regulate the driver to maintain speed at a certain level. So it's a device that is installed in the vehicle. We have accredited vendors. Vendors accredited by the Federal Road Safety Corps who are distributing and marketing and installing this device. So but we have commenced with the commercial drivers first.
Better.
Because majority of the accidents on the highway involve the commercial drivers. Commercial drivers is not just the commuter vehicles, also company vehicles too. So
they're always rushing for one thing or the other.
We install this device, and the speed limit is programmed, to the vehicle. So no matter how you want to move, the vehicle cannot move beyond that limit that has already been programmed. So these are all measures that have been put in place by the Federal Road Safety Corps to reduce crashes on the highway.
SM Mega Mike, did you heard that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now he talked about these devices on cars.
Yes.
But I see these devices, I guess, in developed countries where they're holding them, and they're holding them. A car breezes through, and the police or the road.
I don't think we've gotten to that level.
You don't think we've gotten to that? But what do you think
that?
about that? But I also think that even if we have, it seems like the personnel may be overpowered with the number of people you have to be chasing after.
Yes, if you check out those organized countries, I think they obey the law better.
They
than
do
here,
a lot
all
more.
your information, if you disobey the law, they won't do
The
it.
database,
They
the
go straight to
database.
your house, so they have everything in their database. Are you getting? So in Nigeria, here you see, you're trying to flag a car down, a commercial vehicle down, and the person will just, that is when the driver knows he or she has to increase her speed. So it's quite an unfortunate situation, but it's something we can work on if we really have a good system.
You know what's impressing me so much so far is this part where you said that you're doing clubs with children in school.
Yes,
I think a lot of Nigerian organizations and a lot of government organizations need to know that, man, you need to nip the trouble at its root.
Yes.
At its root, because when these kids grow up now, there'll be no excuse to have these sort of drivers situation on the road.
Even if we do that for the educated ones, what about the uneducated ones? That's our major problem.
Yes, like I said, your handbooks may be better translated in things like Pidgin,
different languages,
and other languages. And there's something else I've also been. I told you before the program, when I go about Nigeria and I experience problems, I just start thinking of possible possible solutions. So another possible solution I have thought is more signs on the road. Maybe the FRSC, maybe other than just writing a drive safe, don't drink, all those things. No, maybe other than that, we put proper instructions on the road so that even people that can read will be able to look at people that are not doing the right thing on the road. Because in developed countries, that's what happens. If you're driving, if you're doing something crazy or not normal on the road, fellow motorists, some of them even stop. And you feel so strange. I begin to wonder. And you feel so strange. Like, yes, I'm definitely doing something wrong.
Yeah. Do you know the funny part? I traveled to a foreign country. For one, throughout the 16 cities I visited, I never saw any traffic control.
Yeah.
I did not see, and there was no, and this when you see a lot of, because if people start obeying the rules and regulation of the road, you won't be honking anyhow when you're driving.
You won't be honking.
You won't. You know that this person you're in front of, the person is following the due process, doing what you're supposed to do.
And regarding this indiscriminate changing of lanes, okay, so there was one time I landed in London, and I usually take the train to Northampton, but I took a friend picked me up, and I think this was my first time on the highway in a private car. So maybe most times it would be taxis or something, but this was my friend's private car. Oh my God, guys! When we were there, I was like, are we in a video game? Why does it seem like we're gliding? When he wants to move faster, next thing he's on another lane, and I don't even know how he changes when he slides. And everybody on that lane seems to be going at the same speed, the same gap is in between everybody. Like we're really running fast, but we're not going close to that car. What's happening? And then when we go to the slow lane, maybe he wants to have a drink or something, then he changes to the slower lane, and everybody is just there cruising on that slow lane, and I'm like, what's going on here? Are there human beings in this car? Human beings like me and you?
No, it's a culture that we need to develop. The driving culture in our country is very, very poor, and this has become a decadence that been come to stay over time. And that's why it's not something we can just get rid of in a day or two. It's a continuous thing. We will get there. The Federal Road Safety Corps is not leaving anything unturned, in achieving safe motorways in our country, and we'll continue to do our best,
All right, what's next on your list?
But you see, I don't know how much time we have left.
We have about 10-15 minutes.
Okay, please, I would just like to take a few minutes to enlighten the listener on the FCT Special Marshals. Because every time we have opportunities like this, we need to let them know who we are. The Special Marshals is the ununiformed arm of the Federal Road Safety Corps.
Did you say ununiformed?
Yes, ununiformed, because if you look at us, we are wearing reflective jackets.
Yes.
Specially customized for the Special Marshals, but the regular marshals, they wear khaki, the brown khaki.
Okay.
So it's just to be able to distinguish between the regular and the special.
Marshal.
However, it is the same act, the FRSC Establishment Act, that establishes the regular and the special. Now, the Special Marshal are made up of people drawn from various walks of life, who have volunteered themselves to serve humanity and to complement the role of the regular marshals. So we have people from the private sector, the public sector, the banking, the business class, everybody. So for you to be a special marshal, you must have a legitimate means of livelihood. There are people, men and women of proven integrity. And our core mandate is traffic control, public enlightenment, research, rescue, and enforcement. Just to complement the efforts of the regular, because a lot of people see or they say this is road safety. Like I'm privileged to be a head of an administration in an organization. It's also a public servant in one of the government agencies. So we make ourselves available to serve humanity through these areas. We do research to what are causes of road crashes, and then we make recommendations to the Corps for adequate transmission to the relevant authorities for implementation. We do traffic control. It's a custom, it's a norm for us to have our regalia, our kits in our vehicle. So if you happen to come across a traffic or an accident, it's an anomaly. It's in fact for you to drive past an accident scene. You don't need to park your vehicle, bring out your kit for identification, and then you intervene in the situation. So
I've seen some of you. Now you've told me about your uniform. I've seen some of you.
These are what we do, but it's important for the listener to understand and to know this so that they can appreciate us more, because sometimes they see us as just mere volunteers. And we had drivers telling us, come out for road. See your mates there for office, they chop better money, you there, they suffer yourself.
That's not what we want.
They don't know that special marshals, we have directors of organizations in special marshals. For example, FCT has 45 units.
45 of special marshals.
Yes, because the units are strategically positioned all across the city.
I told you I have seen one of you. Let me tell you where I've seen one of you. Apple Bridge.
Okay.
There is one jam and there are traffic lights there, but people just don't want to obey those traffic lights. And then next thing I see someone come out, I think I've seen a foreign looking guy there before, black hair, he looks very white. I don't know if he's an Arab or Egyptian or where he's from. And then I see exactly what he's wearing that you guys are wearing. And I usually think it's office people that they have chased from office. Office people that
jobless people.
No, not even jobless. No. I always felt that these are the people that have stood up from their offices and said, we are not sitting in the office. We are coming now to do road, which is the main thing. So when I see them, I'm like, oh my, look at them, smartly dressed, and you need to see the way they control that traffic. It works. It's smart work you guys are out there doing. I've seen you. I've seen a couple of you before. I always thought, because of this regalia, I always thought it's people that just stood up from their seats in the office and say, man, we are going to the road. Things are happening.
Those are special marshals, and we love what we are doing.
It shows.
We love what we are doing.
It shows. And I'm not surprised that people try to bully you on the streets. I'm not really
because
surprised.
They don't understand. No. We have a unit in the presidency. You have a unit in FCD. You have a unit ADC. You have a unit in various ministries. You have a unit in NAFDAC, NMC, FIRS. You have and people are serving directors, deputy directors, PEMSEC. Even the president of the Court of Appeal is a special marshal. It's a judge.
Who is your head in the road safety corps? Who are the group of people that have made this happen?
Well, I think the initiators at the inception of the creation and establishment of the Federal Road Safety Corps. Then that's why I said it's the same act that establishes the regular that establishes. So, however, we have administrative.
Do you have any current names for me here? Like, do you have any current names of your leaders?
Yes. I was about to get there. And in FCT, we have the special marshal has a national coordinator, and they have state coordinators, and then they now have unit coordinators to mount each of these. FCT, like I said, have 45. You have unit coordinators and executives for each of the units. But our FCT coordinator is Comrade Adisa.
Oh, nice.
And he's a very committed. Yes, he's doing a lot. He's doing a lot, providing leadership, administration, oversight to ensure that we comply with the mandate that have been set before us. He also has his executive, and they are working. And that's why you see the FCT. The special marshals in FCT, they stand out from others in the country.
They do.
So we call the level of participation, because the rudiments, for you to even be enlisted as a special marshal, it takes a lot. Yeah. Some people just come, maybe they think you just come in and enter. By the time you pass through the first stage of enlistment, they'll just run away because they can't comply. It's very strict. We want to be sure that they are people of integrity. You don't take bribes on the road. You don't compromise. You are not unruly to the motorist. Even an offender, you should be able to speak to the person.
I was going to ask you, how do you deal with unruly motorists when you're carrying out your activities?
Well, safety is very important.
It has to be. In
as much as we want to enforce, we must be conscious of our safety. We've had our personnel knocked down.
Oh my God.
We have our personnel injured. We have our personnel attacked and mobbed. So safety is very key. And that's why when we go on the highways, we try to use moral suasion because we are not armed.
Yes, I can see that.
We are not armed. And some of these people that drive, they have dangerous weapons in their vehicles.
They do.
So if you you can enforce. Sometimes you may not necessarily need to enforce enlightenment. So we weigh the situation and determine what approach to use. in addressing that particular situation at that particular point in time.
All right, thank you very much for that. SM Mega Ike, I just want to take us back to one road safety practice. I want to ask you about it, which is children and car seats. What's your take on that?
I didn't get that.
Children and car seats in the car.
Once you're below 15 years, you're not expected to sit in the front as a child.
No, not only that. You know how babies need car seats.
The car seat at the back.
Yes, at the back. Because in developed countries, I think up until about 7-8 years, you can't sit, even if it's at the back.
Yes,
you can't sit in the car unless you're in a car seat. So why don't we enforce that here?
If you're saying we should enforce it, because of the price of getting those car seats, a lot of people will tell you they cannot afford it.
I know.
They cannot afford it. So So most times we advise them, keep them at the back. Don't bring them to the front, because they're always a distraction, especially to.
It's even very dangerous for them.
In
the event of any sudden stop like
and
this.
when you're putting them at the back, try and make
strap
sure
them as well.
A seatbelt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because why? Because these car seats have special provisions for seatbelts as well.
For children.
The way they are wedged in the car, if an accident happens, it's very firm. The car seats have a belt, but they even tell you that these adult belts can, even when you strap the children, they can strangle the children in the event of an
That's why it's not always
accident.
advisable. Sometimes it's not advisable sometimes. So most times, because I've met some of them say they cannot afford that.
I know, I hear that a lot too. All right, SM Tom, I think you can just round up with we just have about 5 minutes left. One of the most important road safety practices that we don't adopt as motorists in Nigeria. One very critical one.
The use of phone. We've observed that most people use their phones while driving. And that's why the court has made it a major offense now to go after people who make use of their phone while driving. Now, people need to also understand that use of phone is not only when you are using a telephone call, or you're using the phone to make telephone calls. Because they will say, no, I didn't make call now, I was only checking my time. That's what they say, use. They didn't say only call. You are using it to check your time. You are using the phone. The phone is in your hand. Okay, so this has become a major offense because we discovered that many crashes have resulted from this practice because they lose attention and so on and so forth. Your eyes are on the phone. Some people are texting, some are answering call. Imagine
some are doing Instagram,
some are doing that videoing themselves while they are driving and so on and so forth. Some even use Google Map and so on and so forth. So the core now, the offense, the punitive measures have been so much that just to be able to deter people, to discourage it. If you are caught using your phone while driving, the law envisage or assume that you have some certain level of mental disorder.
Why?
And that's why, because
I don't think that's commensurate.
At
least changing lane, indiscriminate changing of lane. I agree.
Why I said that is that because once you are accosted, you'll be expected to, in fact, to go for a medical checkup.
All I'm saying is, do you think that he aligns? Do you think the consequence is worth the action?
Well,
because for me, when you see somebody indiscriminately changing lane,
it may also not be okay.
You should send them, but not phone. I think phone can have a different consequence or manner in which it's approached, because I have heard a lot of people, they've used their phone, they've sent them for mental psych evaluation.
Yes.
But all I'm saying is it doesn't seem to match. It doesn't seem commensurate. Like,
they say every law is subject to review.
Okay.
As the days progress, the court is working to review and to see where adequate punishment should be placed for certain offenses.
Yeah, I think we should review what we need to do for people.
Exercise. But in the meantime,
instead of psych eval. But I do hear that that's what most people are sent for. But it's better to have something there than nothing at all for now, honestly.
And then when you come back, it doesn't end there. You come back, you still pay the fine for that. Then you have public enlightenment lectures that will take for 3 days.
You people should carry these consequences to people that can change lane anyhow and are parked in the middle of the road to pick passenger and all those things.
We are doing that.
It's for them. I know people that do phones as well. It's very dangerous. But there's another thing you mentioned, such as using the map.
Yes.
people have been using maps for a very, very long time in developed countries as well. But this doesn't constitute as a road offense. So how can you advise people to use maps?
If you notice, most of them don't hold their phone on their hand.
Definitely.
The maps are now in the cars even self.
Yes, the map, the GPS.
Yes, so they don't because they know the consequences of having that phone or looking to the phone screen. So
GPS
new cars now, GPS are built in the vehicles.
Even the old ones I'm talking about were inbuilt.
That shows you that they are trying to eradicate the handling of phone while driving. But most vehicles in Nigeria don't have that yet. That's why they see like Uber drivers, Bolt, they use that phone to navigate to wherever they are.
So how would you advise
Uber? If you notice, they have a phone holder.
The hanger.
Great. Okay, that's what you'd advise them. A hanger, a proper hanger.
Exactly, for the phone to handle.
All right. That's really great. SM Mega Mike, do you have any final words for us? Because we're rounding up right now.
Just what I need to advise is every motorist out there in Nigeria, especially FCT, just try as much as possible. Your life is more important. There's no hurry in life. So whatever you're doing, especially your car, just once you enter your car, the first thing is you need to do, just try to maintain every law so that you won't be caught. Okay, just maintain it. That's all I have to say.
SM Tom?
Yeah. Well, my final word to the listener and the motorist is they should drive to stay alive. Whenever they're on the road, they know the families are waiting for them to come back, to have a welcome for them, and for them to know that the law is not meant to kill anybody. The law is just to ensure there's a general well-being for everybody to enjoy the use of the road, including pedestrians who are not even driving.
Pedestrians.
Yes, so that they just try to comply so as to have a safe driving experience in around the cities.
Okay, I just want to ask you one last question. You already know how the green, white, green taxis bother me, and I think a lot of road users, including pedestrians as well. What would you advise them, especially as to parking on the road, picking passengers? What is some other way that they can organize themselves to function?
Well, at this point, I want to comment the outcome Commissioner of Police, FCT. One of our base is Wuse Market. There's around the axis of Wuse Market, the traffic light and the bridgehead.
Yeah.
We have been doing, and that's where you have the large number of those people.
Yes.
So we've been working with their executive, the Painted Abuja taxis, the Brekete, and so on and so forth, to talk to them on that highway, on the use of indiscriminate parking. So lately, and of course, like I said, we are not armed. So lately, the Commissioner of Police came to our aid by creating a special task force to curb the menace in that Wuse Market junction. So if you have passed Wuse Market before now and now, there's a whole lot of discipline.
There is, yeah.
So this has complemented our role in that place.
But we need it to go across board.
Yes, sometimes the minimal force is expected to be applied, to achieve these things, and they are complying.
They are, but we need it in other places other than Wuse Market. So we need it in other places. Beggar, Apple Bridge.
Beggar roundabout. If you notice,
Apple Bridge, the whole road is not for normal people again. No.
Well, they
make 3 parking lanes. One, another one, another one.
And that's why it causes a lot of traffic when you are coming from legislative quarters or going to. Yes,
it's heartbreaking. Personally, it's heartbreaking for me.
I had told some of our colleagues in other units to tune into the program, so I believe they are listening.
They are listening. Beautiful.
So, and we have a unit in that place in Apo. We have a unit in Bega. Our units are spread across the city, so they are all listening. Sometimes when we drive on our own and we see things that are happening on routes that are not within our jurisdiction, we also pass the information. You need more attention in this area. Please pay attention to it. So, and I think they are listening.
Yes, because I think sometimes when you hear there's a traffic jam or something here, it doesn't take up to 15 minutes for somebody to show up and diffuse
there's
that
a communication
situation.
platform that's in place for to respond to such emergencies.
Yes. Well, kudos to the FRSC. Seems like you guys know what you're doing. This is the Nigeria that we are praying for.
And I'm inviting you to come and join the special marshal, please.
I definitely will. Wilson that gave me your contact. I feel like
Yes,
it's
he's
part
one of
you
us.
as
He's one
well.
of us. Yes, yes.
I was shocked. It was on a program that he mentioned it, and as soon as we got off the program, I just cornered him immediately to speak to
He's
him
one of us.
about
He's
it.
one of us.
I would definitely look into it.
No problem.
We know everything starts small.
Yeah.
Yes.
We may not see the results yet, but
Immediately.
we are seeing results. We hear of you on the news. You're always at the where accidents are happening, sharply ready to help to quench traffic and all of that. We really appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much.
Shout out to the FRSC team everywhere in
Thank you so
Abuja and
much.
all around
Thank you
Nigeria.
so much.
Please continue to do better for all of us.
Thank
The
you.
road accidents are really killing a lot of us. So please continue to do better. Continue to enlighten us and continue to come to Citizen FM and give us a
we'll be here again. We'll be here
please.
again.
I would really
We'll always come
appreciate
around.
it.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, all right, guys, and that's a wrap on Midday with Mena. A very big shout out to my listeners and to my lovely guests, SM Tom Nkwat and SM Mega Ike Emereze. It was lovely to have you on the program. All right, guys, I'll catch you again next time. Do have a lovely day ahead.
Make we join our